I'm John Treese Wells.
And I'm Erica Fernandez.
And welcome back to Beyond Legacy.
Welcome back.
We are here. We're excited.
Yes.
If you have not gone back and checked episodes 1 through 4,
yes,
you need to go back and check them out.
Check them out.
I mean, we have been experiencing some awesome and amazing things with just having this conversation with one another and sharing the conversation with you.
Inviting you in
and joining. So please, like, subscribe, hit the notification button, do all those things. Go to our social media handles, follow us on there because we want you to be a part of this. But we're on episode 5.
We're on
Episode 5 of season 1. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep track of how many episodes we are, but it's just amazing to me where we are and how far we've come.
Man, we've come so far in doing this. It almost seems comfortable. I assure you it's not.
It's not.
Right? It's a preparation and thought and things, but we love it because we're not scripted.
Right.
And so we speak freely with you and invite you in on great conversations.
Great conversation. Well, Erica, we've had a week, a season, a time.
Call it a season.
Call it a season.
It's a season.
It has been. Yes. And we've been walking through this together with one another. So the last episode that we did, we talked about, the impact of loss.
Yes.
We talked about losing your nephew and how that really affected your family. Now we're here, a couple of weeks later, and you guys had the funeral and you've had the preparation. So let's kind of talk about the impact of the unexpected. The impact of the unexpected.
Right.
Your nephew's loss was unexpected, and how you transitioned through all of those things and the emotions, and even in my own life.
Right.
I mean, there are some things that has happened unexpectedly that I had to walk through and process. And even in community, the crazy thing is I knew that my friend over here was going through something, and I didn't want to reach out and bury my thing on her, because I was like, I know I know she's going through something. I don't really want to share. So I didn't share. And then she reached out and I was like,
Right? That's what happens, right? It's like, what we look at when we lost my nephew unexpectedly, I describe it as hope shattered. Our hope was that he was coming home. Our hope was that he was getting better, and that from the outside, it looked like he was getting better. And we're just marching through the steps of him coming home. So he didn't look like he wasn't crawling through, the death journey. He wasn't comatose or anything like that. So that's why it was unexpected and earth-shattering. But I tell you, in unexpected moments, the question becomes, who do you call? It's not Ghostbusters, okay?
Well, I tried.
Who do you call? Who's the first one?
I tried Ghostbusters. I did. I tried Ghostbusters.
They don't work.
They didn't answer.
That's a lie. So who do you call? What is the first phone call you make to get things rolling, to get things done, to cry, to do whatever you need to do in that moment? You're in shock. You're whatever. Who or what do you do? In the days, not in the first hours, in the days to come, because things have to get moving. You can't stay in shock mode. Now, if you have a husband or, a significant other, you hope that they would then be your support while you melt, right? And in some cases that happen, but then what is your other resources you have to think about? How does the process work when the unexpected happen? In our case, it was death. In other cases, it's, dealing with the police. In other cases, it's losing a job. What is the first? In other cases, it's like, oh my God, I got a flood in my house. What is the first call you make? What do you do? What kicks in? Adrenaline, of course. My first reaction when I got the call, I screamed and hollered. I really just laid out on the floor. I was burling over. I lost my voice. That's how unexpected it was for me. And I just couldn't wrap my arms around it.
Who
And
was
then
the person who called you?
my sister called
Your
me.
sister. So
And I
think
knew
about,
it was crazy because it was like, why is she calling me this time of night?
Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock at night. What is up? And my phone is on that silence thing, so you don't really get to get out. Anyway, she was the first person that called me.
And then you think about too, like your sister was the first person that called you, and you know that she's going through the exact same thing that you're going through.
Yes.
So it's almost like you had to, your initial reaction, I laid out, I cried, but now I have to get myself together because I got to be there for my sister. It's her who lost her
Yeah.
son.
Right.
And so you're kind of like
Right.
shoveling all of your feelings kind of inside because if you didn't have anybody else to call, right? If you didn't have a community or a friend to say, listen, I just got this
Yeah,
call.
yeah.
I just need to, get it out so then
Right.
I can go be there for my sister. Even thinking about like you lost your best friend, who the person that you would have called. So all of those
Right.
emotions then come
I
up, right?
didn't have that person. So,
Yeah.
the thing is I screamed down the hallway to my daughter. I screamed to my brother. I was like, I gotta go. I gotta be. I was that kind of person. So,
Yeah.
and the person that did pass away, that I would be like, help me. She would have been like right there to help me, and that I didn't have that either. And so, it's different. So when the unexpected happens, once you get your bearings together, you gotta know what to do, and if you have resources in your Rolodex, right, or your repertoire,
Yeah.
your sphere of influence, you need to know that you can make that call and they would be there, or that actions could happen and that they would give you the information you needed to do. And I think for us, the first 5 hours was just trying to understand what, why, how, and walking through that whole thing. And so definitely in the days to come, it is now, as we talk about, right, the legacy that he has.
Right.
He was a sick individual. I wouldn't say sick, but he was battling 30-some years with diabetes. But he had an entrepreneurial spirit. And so he had produced a lot of stuff. And so we now get to get those things together, and we wore them for his funeral. I'm creative in that way with him and used to talk to him. So we put his logo on the ties of the guys
that's so
who
cool.
who carried the, what do you call them,
The
pallbearers.
casket. Oh, yeah.
So all the pallbearers and the uncles and his dad
That's
and
so
nephew
cool.
all had ties on that had his logo and his silhouette. So it was kind of one of those things. It was
Yeah.
part of it. And then, then we took another image of his and created shirts and took it and went to dinner and surprised my mother for her 80th.
Wow.
So his legacy and all this stuff, and thinking of the design ideas we have, and even my sister's sewing and she hasn't gotten back to it, but we got a name and an acronym for her wear off of his, and just actually doing that thing that what we talked about before, that unborn legacy,
Yes.
that unborn thing
Yeah.
is birthed now, and we're going to put feet to it because within our family we recognize, and I did the legacy speech to them and told them, we're passing the torch to you younger generations.
Yeah.
You guys need to carry this forward
Yeah.
for your cousin
Yeah.
and for us. We're handing it over. So that's kind of the thing, and you could talk even more about other unexpected things that
Yeah.
even happened to you in the season. And so,
Erica,
Yeah.
it is.
it's
hard to talk about, and because it was so unexpected.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was walking into, and the different emotions that you had to process
Yeah.
in the midst of all of it. So just real quick, a synopsis of the story. I come home after work one day, and I go into my home, and things are just not right. And immediately I text my daughter, like, did you leave my house looking like this?
What mess you caused?
I was about to go
I know I
off,
trained you
like,
better,
I know
right?
you didn't leave my house looking like this.
Man.
But it wasn't adding up, right? And so I texted my dad because he has a key to my apartment. I said, did you come by the apartment? Nobody was responding right away. So I'm still kind of going through, looking around, like things are just disheveled. I don't understand. So as I'm
Man.
walking through and I look on the floor, and there's a search warrant.
What?
My apartment had been ransacked by the police. I literally sat there for a moment. It felt like eternity, and I was like, what just happened? So here's
Talking
the first
about unexpected.
unexpected, because I first of all, let me do a disclaimer. I'm not a criminal.
Yeah, you're not.
I don't belong in jail.
My
Okay.
name is Jaltrese, and I'm not a criminal.
I'm not a criminal,
Right?
right? So I didn't understand why, what, how. It took me a minute, and I immediately called my dad. Like, hey, my dad's an ex-police officer, and I said, this is what just happened. I don't know what to do, and the emotional violation that you feel. Someone just came through your personals.
Yeah.
Someone just came through your place of safety,
Yep.
comfort,
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah.
It no longer felt
Man.
like that. It no longer
All of
felt
those
like
things disturbed, and in both situations, we're thinking it still responds the same way. We
Yeah.
sat in our emotions to try
yeah.
to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
How does it happen?
Yeah.
What's next?
What's
and
next?
in my situation, it was my nephew. In your situation, is this the search warrant?
Yeah.
Like, how did I get here?
And the question of how did I get to this point? How did I? And it was a span of 5 days of unknown, of what was really going on,
yes.
uncertainty. It was 5 days of me sitting. And when we talk about emotions and feelings and thoughts, you go from one extreme to the other, right? I'm
Yes.
about to die, to they're going to put me in jail, to...
So, the other part is kind of we talk about how we show up and how we be. And as single, strong women, we try to show up strong.
Yeah.
But God has such an amazing way of breaking us down, go, no, you ain't that strong. And I will just reduce you to just laying out and leaning just on me. But you need to know, that's
Erica,
my resource.
I think I told you this. I physically got my Bible. Now, we all have electronics, right?
Right,
And we
right,
will
right.
read a scripture real
Right.
quick on our electronic, go,
Right.
okay, thank you, Jesus, put the phone down. We may do a short
Right.
prayer, God, Lord, protect me today. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, there we go, and we're on to the next. I physically got my Bible. I opened it, and I
Open
said,
it up.
God. What is happening?
What?
I'm like, for real.
I just don't know.
In tears. In tears.
And they just flow.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have any control over this.
No.
Kind of this thing where I was like, take a breath, Erica, take a breath. Because you gotta breathe and you gotta tell yourself, breathe, breathe.
Yeah.
Because the next step has to happen.
The next step has to happen.
And
But
that's resource.
You said something, because we're both single women, just in case y'all needed to know that.
Just in case
Just
you
in
didn't
case.
know.
We're both single women, right? In different stages of life and whatever. And I felt so bare. I felt so out there.
Yeah.
I felt alone. Like, yes, we have community. We reach out to our community. But you also know that your community is not necessarily going through the exact thing. Like, it's not, you're not going to jail.
Right.
I am.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
I felt
Right.
so
Right.
bare and so alone. And my prayer was, God, I said, God, I feel unprotected. I said, as a single woman who's out here trying her best, being a mom,
Right.
trying to get businesses started, I really am trying my best. And I feel so unprotected.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk more about that too.
Yes, we have to.
Yeah,
because there's a lot to unpack
Yeah.
in that. But so when we talk about the unexpected things, I think the initial thought process is our initial emotions and who do we call?
Who do we call?
Even
What's
in
our
our
resource?
community, what's
Yeah.
the resources? And one thing that and I think we're going to have to continue this conversation in the next episode, because we talk about resources, we talk about the system. I knew the system wasn't on my side.
Wow.
So I'm going into it thinking I could be as innocent
As you want to be.
as I want to be, but the system is not on my side.
Right.
Right. To prove my innocence. The system is on my side to prove my guiltiness. And so I had to kind of sit with that and reach out to someone who I hadn't talked to, who I knew from the past, but I knew that she was in the law. And so I had to humble myself, my ego, my pride, all of that. I had to go lift.
That's the part that we gotta understand, though. That sometimes we think we need to be in constant community in order to actually utilize our resource. At the same time, we need to know that a resource exists. What is it, and for what function? But then when we get from ourselves, because like you said, you have to humble yourself from that place to actually reach out to the source we need. Kind of like, you need the Lord. Do you reach for him, or you wait until you think, oh, because I haven't been in community with him, he's not going to be there for me, he's not going to support me, he's not going to carry me through, he's not going to walk me through. That's not him.
Right.
And prayerfully, in our community of resources, that's not them.
Right.
And what you found out is
It
that very
wasn't-
thing.
Yeah, it wasn't that. But I'm gonna, and we'll talk about this later too. But just think about the amount of people who don't have that, and
Man,
walk
yeah.
into these situations
Yes.
alone,
Right.
thinking. And how many people do get caught up or do catch a case based off of their own knowledge because they don't have the community.
Yeah.
And I am just so grateful that I was raised in a community that I could go way back and go, hey, I know you know me. I know you know me, and I need your help.
I need your
right?
help.
So,
Help.
I think we should probably continue this conversation. So there's going to be a part 2.
Right.
And we want you to join. So I know that there's many stories out there. It's
Right,
not just
right.
unexpected death, unexpected caught a case.
Right, right.
But that
It's the
there's-
asking, I like to say,
Yeah.
asking for the help.
oh, that's tough.
That's when something unexpected happens. Are you humble enough
Yeah.
to ask for the help?
Yeah.
Let's talk about
let it and let it fall where they may. So we'll talk about that in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining this
Yes.
conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe,
Yes.
share, and then leave
Yes.
a comment. Let us know. Maybe there's some
Yes.
things that you need help with, right? Maybe there's an ask that you have that you're saying, look, I don't have this resources,
Yeah.
and if we could help, we
Yeah.
want to be that resource for
Yes.
you. We want to help or point you in the right direction. So we love you guys. Thank
Love
you
you
for
guys.
joining
Thank
this
you.
Conversation, and we'll see you next time.
Next time.